did our debut bond in 2023, and we issued 750 million at that time. And then recently we did a further $1 billion issuance on the anniversary of the first one. We started the journey probably going back about 3 years. We recognized that as a pure play renewable energy company, that we bear, I suppose, a certain additional burden of responsibility to not only be doing things in the sustainable space the right way, but to be almost exceeding people's expectations. Masdar is, to some extent, a beacon for sustainability in this region. Not only are we a local player, but the reality is that most of our investments are overseas. So a beacon within this region, but also we're exporting and we're representing Abu Dhabi and the UAE everywhere we go. So I think to the extent we weren't ticking all the boxes, as it were, from a sustainability perspective, there would probably be big questions asked as to why we're not doing so, because no other company within certainly the UAE is as representative of sustainability. So when we started the journey, we did things like putting together a green finance framework. We weren't necessarily the first company to do so. We looked to other best-in-class companies from Europe and elsewhere to see how things should be done. We followed suit. But we also recognized increasingly other issuers, including our shareholders, are issuing green paper. And I would say the market oftentimes seems to be awash with green paper, sustainable paper. And so for a company like us, I guess the question was, how can we sort of separate ourselves from the crowd? And how we do that is, I'm not sure it necessarily works, but we certainly try. When we are speaking with investors, we tell them, look, every single dollar of Masdar paper that you buy is going towards developing brand new renewable energy projects around the world. And on top of that, many of those projects that we're developing are in global south countries, developing countries in Asia, in Africa, in the South Caucasus. We're very much in Uzbekistan. And that's a story that investors, they really love. And it does separate ourselves from other issuers in the region who may, for example, be using the proceeds of their green bonds to purchase existing assets, right? That's not what happens when you buy our bonds. We're building new infrastructure that makes the world a better place, not only from an environmental perspective, but also it has a really positive impact upon local communities in some of the poorest countries. So that's kind of a bit of a summary of how we've approached things. We're really trying to set ourselves apart from the pack.